With the release of iPhone 15 Pro and its A17 Pro chip, Apple has announced that console titles such as Resident Evil 4, Village, Death Stranding, and Assassin's Creed Mirage are coming to the iPhone. Full console titles releasing only a few months apart from its console debut. This is a major step forward for mobile gaming and for Apple's potential dominance of gaming. Only problem is that Apple doesn't know the potential of this move. Console games and phones aren't new ideas. We've had plenty of them over the last decade, ranging from older titles to current gen games being ported over to iOS and Android. But most didn't even make a dent in the market. GTA is the only exception with its lowered price and fairly easy to run games. Many consumers purchased it since there are no real alternatives on the App Store. Many titles, especially from Japan, are available on the App Store at full price. These prices deter majority of consumers, not because they aren't worth the amount of money they ask for, but because of what surrounds it. If you're used to spending small amounts of money over time to play a game, even though you end up spending a similar amount, you're more likely to spend it on microtransaction rather than paying a full price for games like Trials of Mana. If Apple wanted to dominate the gaming market, they can do it. They just don't know how. So let me show you how they can do it. Unified Store Experience. Microsoft has already done this to some effect. If you buy a game on the Xbox, you can play the same game on your PC at no additional cost. But there are two problems. Microsoft Store is only available on Xbox and PC, and not all games support this feature. Imagine if you buy Starfield on your console and have it available on every platform. You'd be playing on your big screen TV, and when you leave your house for commuting to work, you can continue your gameplay on your phone. This basic idea is the core reason why the Nintendo Switch, Steam Deck, and cloud gaming is so big. The ability to game wherever you are in whatever form factor you choose. Switch is great. If you've been watching my videos, I think you can tell I'm a big Nintendo fan. Switch's portability is great. I've spent countless hours playing some amazing games during commute. But sometimes it's a lot of hassle to bring in with you. Same with the Steam Deck. The best gaming device is the device you already have. We all have smartphones. It's no longer a choice, it's a must. So rather than buying another device to game on, wouldn't it be better to game on a device we have to buy? Cloud gaming would solve all these issues, but realistically, it came out too early. Most of us don't have the fastest internet connection at home, and especially during commute. I know several spots around my area where the reception drops to near zero. We are not ready for cloud gaming. Maybe in 50 years' time, we might be able to enjoy it wherever we are, but not now. Get rid of Mac App Store and combine them into one singular app store where every purchase is a cross-buy. Just like how the current iOS App Store handles iPhone and iPad apps. Apple Arcade. Microsoft has showed that people are willing to pay for monthly subscription to play video games. Game Pass has revolutionized the market. Games are too expensive, especially here in Australia. A day one release game will cost over $100. Game Pass only costs $19 a month. That gives me access to games on Xbox, PC, and cloud gaming. Apple has tried to mimic the success of Game Pass with Apple Arcade, a curated selection of iOS games available on iOS, macOS, and tvOS. It's not a bad service. We get to enjoy high-quality, ad-free mobile games wherever we are. But they are mobile games. That in and of itself is not the issue. The fact that it's only mobile games is the problem. Mobile games have to follow a strict power and resource budget so it can be played on any phone. It's also restricted by mobile gamers' spending habits. Like I said, people don't want to pay for games, but they are fine with paying for microtransactions. So mobile games have to be built around this. Why create a beautiful game with deep, rich story when you can simply add a pretty character as a microtransaction and make millions of dollars. Microsoft stated that without Game Pass, there wouldn't be a game like Flight Simulator. The monthly subscription allowed for financial stability for the developers. Same with Apple Arcade. Ad-free, microtransaction-free games are huge risks on mobile. But Apple Arcade provides stability. What Apple needs to do is increase the price of the service and invite developers and publishers to bring console-quality games to the App Store on their Apple Arcade, not as a standalone release. TV. Apple TV hardware is kind of niche. Most people have no reason to buy it since we have smart TVs with built-in OS and features. I don't think Apple themselves even know why. The current Apple TV isn't a bad device, but it lacks focus. What they need is a gaming console. Call it Apple Arcade TV and add the latest chip, add more storage, and advertise it as a gaming device. Apple makes their own chips to put inside iPhones and Mac computers. They can surely create a specific chip made for gaming. Apple needs to have their foot in every gaming hardware platform if they want to make it as a gaming company. What they have with Apple TV now isn't it. Controller.
You know, one of the pioneers of our industry, Alan Kay, has had a lot of great quotes throughout the years. And I ran across one of them recently, explains why we go about doing things the way we do. And here's the quote. People who are really serious about software should make their own hardware. You know?
Apple needs to make their own controller. It's about time. There are two types of controllers in the market. Standard controllers with a clip and split controller. I personally think this is indicative of lack of solution for controllers for phones. Both options are not ideal. Controller with clip is bulky and not ideal for carrying around. The mounting position of the phones makes it top heavy. The split controller is the most natural, but because of how long the phones have gotten, the entire setup looks ridiculously wide. It also doesn't work with many phone cases. What we need is a controller that is easy to attach and take it off. I do have some ideas on what this could be, but it's up to Apple to decide. If you're serious, make your own hardware. Why would Apple do all these? Why isn't Apple interested? That's the biggest mystery. Do you know why Windows is the place for gaming? It's because they created DirectX, which helps developers create games for Windows and Xbox. Apple has a similar software called Metal, but not many uses it because it only works with Apple products. Sure, it works with iPhones, which is one of the biggest phone brands in the world, but there aren't anyone who's willing to buy games on the App Store. So there's no incentive to make Apple exclusive games. But if they do everything I mentioned, the usage of Metal will naturally go up, just like how the usage of DirectX has gone up for Microsoft, which in the end will benefit Apple with increased hardware and software sales, trapping consumers in their walled garden, Apple ecosystem. It's very strange why Apple still hasn't taken the necessary step to become the #1 gaming company. I personally want to see Apple step into the gaming world. There's nothing better than having more competitors fighting for our money. It will naturally increase the quality of products and benefit us, the gamers. That's it for now. Bye.